Breakfast Club. No, is it the Breakfast Club? Yeah, it's the Breakfast Club,
Yeah, that
right?
was Breakfast Club.
Um, Killer Mike was on. Him and DJ Envy had a little nice little discussion. Had people talking.
Yeah.
Killer Mike was taking. They were talking about public schools versus private schools, right? And what I think Envy was missing is that he's got money. You know what I mean? He's not like he ain't broke. What Killer Mike was saying for middle class and poor blacks, a lot of times that option isn't available to them. And Envy was talking about, he sends his kids, to the big buck schools. You know what I mean? He sent them schools to kids. They become billionaires when they go to that school. That's what Envy was saying.
He ain't lying.
Okay, he ain't lying. Now, where do we go from here? Because it seemed like Killer Mike was trying to say, man, a lot of times we got to start building our own schools. This is stuff we've been saying. Umar, you know what I mean? For everybody, we all get on Dr. Umar. He had the right idea.
Right.
We got to start building our own schools and stuff,
Right.
teaching our own.
I feel like that conversation was a bit unfair for both of those guys because they're both right.
Mm.
They are both right. You have the option in the middle class neighborhood. Also, we got to understand that Killer Mike is coming off of a different time period, right? So, like, back in his day, going to public school, white kids was hostile. Right. Nowadays, white kids love black people. They love hip hop culture. You black, they going, you like the cool kid. You know what I mean? Like, you show them the new dance, the whip, and the nay-nay. So I don't think that hostility exists. Maybe, in some areas of the United States, but for the most part, I don't know if that hostility still exists, but I'm sure there is some hostility. So I look at this thing like this. You have the Nignock school, and then you have a black school. Those are two different things. You got the Hoteps school where the kids are excelling. Everybody comes from a good family. Everybody's involved in building. Then yes, I can send my kids to that establishment.
Right.
But if the Nignogs in the area are going to create a hostile environment for my child, then I'd rather send them to a less hostile environment with the good old white folks. You know what I mean? Because that option happened with me. I could send my kids to the Nignog school and let them get that good old black culture, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Right. We're going a different path. We're going to go charter and put them with these POC. It's good Asian. Let them learn alongside these good Asians. Right? And where there's minimal Nignog influence. I don't perceive anything good coming from the Nignog culture. What good do we produce? What good is produced in the black community? Tell me.
Learn how to dance.
Everything outside of the arts.
Oh.
What exactly do we contribute? We
outside of the arts, man, it's hard to say.
This is what I'm saying. So until we're dealing with a group of blacks that are Hoteps that actually have something to contribute to the community, then we could work. Like, I'll send my kids to a Hotep school. I'm not going to send them to a Nignog school. Those are two completely different types of blacks. And that's what we got to understand, like, what type of blacks we're talking about. Now, when you raising a child out here in the middle class, what you need to do is you need to be raising your children to be either academically great or athletically great, or ideally both, so that they get a full scholarship to the private programs. So the private programs get them that full ride scholarship to the universities, the top universities, which will slide them right in C level when they graduate, or somewhere, with a good corporation, if you're taking them that route, right? But the fact of the matter is, Master P's son went to USC. He didn't go to a HBCU. Killer Mike was pushing that HBCU thing, and honestly, I don't know what good comes from an HBCU. I never went to one. So I can't speak too much on it, but from what I've seen from the HBCU doesn't produce much good for black people. It's once again a place where they turn hoteps into liberals.
You're right about that.
You go to
I think the premise is good, but I think the application of it is lacking. I think they should be geared to what the community needs. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's what's happening. It's you got to be careful. A lot of these colleges, like what I actually my daughter got into. She got into the charter school. And this is one of the charter schools she can go from kindergarten all the way through high school and stuff
right.
like that. So I was like, thank God, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the school out here ain't that bad, but I think in a smaller setting, she's going to do a lot better. So I'm like, yes, you know what I mean. But we should have options to send kids anywhere. You know what I mean? If you want to go to this school for this or that school for that, that's what it should be. But I think more importantly, on what Killer Mike is, I think, kind of missing is, a lot of people want to send them to these schools, to like, the public school where there's a lot of people that look like them. But you're like what you were saying, if some of the families aren't involved in their kids, you got a lot of knobs running around, it's going to disrupt. And one apple can spoil a bunch. You know what I mean? It's a true thing. You know what I mean? So we got to come better with our families in raising our children in our neighborhoods, and have them more respectful and wanting to learn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you have a bunch of kids that don't want to learn, you don't want to send your kid there.
Mm-mm. I mean, even Angelina said it in the interview. She said that she went to private, I think, one year, and then she begged her parents to send her to public. And in senior year, she had to go back to private because she was messing up in public. And that's just because, you hanging around your peoples, you tend to get distracted. But when you hanging around somebody that you're not comfortable around, you tend to just have to focus on, your book work. You don't have so many distractions. And that's my appeal for, I understand we want to have this togetherness with black people, but I also have counter arguments for why we should send our kids to primarily white institutions.
Yeah, I totally dig what you're saying. You know what I mean?
I mean, look at what Killer Mike said. He said charter schools. When he brought up charter school, what did he say? He said something about Republicans, right? And this is what I'm saying. The left won't even allow. They don't want us to have charter schools. We don't have we don't have school choice. So when black people are looking to educate themselves, we can't even do it if we keep following behind the Democratic rule. You know what I mean? And then Killer Mike was talking about some other things, but on campus, I've spoken to Hotep kids. I went and I did a lecture on a HBCU campus, and they're complaining and saying we're like basically like you have to be quiet about being Hotep on campus. You have to, keep your views mum. And I'm like, damn, like it's like that. And it's like, yeah, even the professors won't agree with you and your grades. And it's like, so if we're gonna have institutions, they have to be free of thought. They can't be, basically indoctrination stations to send your kid straight to the DNC. You know what I mean? Because to me, if you send a kid to HBCU, you're still sending them to a primarily white institution because you learning primarily white things.
Yeah.
You learning primarily white ideas. They send you HBCU and now your ass is over here marching. Right? And then what Killer Mike said, forget all that marching, right?
Yeah.
He said, forget all that marching. But that's that Hotep talk. And if you say forget all that marching, let's build a school, niggas gonna call you Hotep.
Yeah.
You see, this is why I say, like, we can't send our kids to these black schools until we clean up these black schools and set them straight. And if the school don't say M Hotep University, my kids ain't going there.
Isaiah Emoji, thank you for the super chat. Mike Lowry. The more you give into the agenda, the more they'll move the goalposts until everyone is effeminate. Shout out to Mike Lowry. Thank you for that.
He ain't lying.
Yeah. So, but it was interesting. Like everybody, everybody in the chat, if y'all have some time, go to the Breakfast Club YouTube channel after you got done watching the hottest podcast on the net. go watch that Killer Mike versus DJ MV interview. It's pretty good. Um,
Yeah, they're basically making a case for should you send your black child to the public black school or should you send them to the primarily white institution? And DJ Envy says, I send my kids to primarily white institution. And Killer Mike says he sends his kid to public school. Killer Mike can send his kids to public school because he's famous. They ain't nobody gonna mess with that. Everybody trying to get some beats or something.
and there's a thing, and I'm like, a lot of people got to understand, Killer Mike down south, and there's they got a high black population, man. It's different down south than it's up north, like you'll have that richness and depthness of the community. You don't really northeast, man. You have pockets of blacks
Yeah.
communities in major in the cities, but it's not like down south. It's kind of different, man. You got to move kind of different up north.
Yeah, up north ain't none of that going down, Killer Mike.
Yeah. Isaiah, thank you. Thanks for another donation. Thanks for saying my man name right. Hey, man. Do I do what it do? On
Oh,
to
oh, oh,
sports.
oh, 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 oh.
Okay.
Wait, real quick on that subject. They were talking about getting your blackness, right? Going to school for your blackness. This is my problem.
Yeah.
This is my problem. Like, your blackness got to come from home and family first.
Yeah.
School is where you go to tell the state that you're useful.
Yeah, you're okay.
You know what I mean? Like that you're gonna be good for the economy. That's what school's for. To prove that your child's gonna be good for this economy. The blackness that comes from home. White kids don't go to school to learn whiteness.
They learn that from their home. They learn that early.
Them Asian kids, they don't go to school to learn Asianness. They learn that at home. They
At home.
when it's the holiday and it's time to wear their red dot, they got their red dot. When it's time to wear they henna on their arms, they got their henna on their arms. You know what's messed up with black people? They allow white people to tell us when and when we cannot wear do-rags. They say, oh, take your do-rag off in school. Nah, yo, we gotta let them know that's religious garments. Just like these, if hijab could come in with his hijab on, you know what I'm saying? Like our hair texture is technically supposed to stay wrapped because our coils collect dirt easily. So you want us to take our hair wrap off and be in this building with all these people sneezing and stuff, spreading your measles and your vaccinated children. Yeah, let's go to the next topic.